You've been paying attention to the real estate market at all, especially here locally in Southern California, you may have noticed a shift starting to happen. We have more houses coming on the market for sale, and they're taking longer to sell. You might be wondering, what does this mean for you? Well, today I wanted to come on and just talk about what this means for buyers and sellers, what this shift looks like in the housing market, and how it might benefit you. So here's what's happening. Since the beginning of 2022, the number of homes for sale that are active on the market has doubled, and the number of transactions, or the number of homes that are actually selling, has gone down by a third. Now, this is a huge shift, and what we're seeing is that sellers who in the past couple of years, especially in 2022 and 2023, had all of the power. There was more buyers than there were sellers, and there was a lot of negotiating power and leverage on the seller side. Today, that's a little bit different. In some cases, we're seeing buyers having the leverage. So just to give you some context, a good way of looking at where the market is at as far as a seller's market, a buyer's market, is to look at the month supply of inventory, or the absorption rate. This is how many homes are there for sale active on the market, and based on the current demand, how long would it take to sell all of those listings if nothing new came to market. And at the beginning of 2022, in Los Angeles County, we had about 1.6 months of inventory, meaning it would take almost a month and a half to sell everything if nothing new came up. In Orange County, that was less than a month. It was about 0.8 months of supply. And today, at the end of May, well, this is June, middle of June we're sitting at, so the data as the end of May, in Orange County, we were at 3.4 months of inventory, and in LA County, we're at 4.4 months of inventory. So it's basically tripled. And if you compare that to what's happening nationally, recently, Redfin came out with an article saying that there's 500,000 more buyers than there are sellers nationally in America. Realtor.com just came out with an article saying that there's 1 million single family homes for sale in America. That's the highest they've seen in 6 years. Now, it's important to, know that what's happening nationally isn't what's happening locally, but there are trends that affect us both locally and nationally, and so it's important to keep an eye on those things. So what does this look like in tangible terms? Well, if you're thinking of buying, I know what you're thinking. How? It's so expensive to buy a home in Southern California right now. And to put that into perspective, if you were to buy a house at the beginning of 2022, when interest rates were at 3%, the average price of a home in Orange County and LA County was about $900,000. So for a 20% down, 30-year fixed loan, your monthly payment was about $3,300 for that. Now, today, the average price in LA County is $1.3 million, and the average price in Orange County is about $1.5. And that interest rate, instead of being at 3%, is at 7%. That means your mortgage is $7,000 a month and $8,000 a month, which is way higher than $3,300 a month. So I get it. It's brutal out there to buy a house. But here's the thing. The homes are still selling and the prices are still going up. There's still enough buyers to meet the demand. And although our inventory has doubled since 2022, it's still below pre-COVID levels. Between 2017 and 2019, the active listings for sale was still much higher than where we're at today. So when you're thinking about buying a house and you're gonna wait for prices to fall, they're just not going to. We're gonna continue to see stable prices. They may come down a little bit over the next year because there's more inventory and less demand. But more likely, the advantage is that you're going to have some negotiating power. You're going to be able to negotiate with sellers on concessions for down payment, concessions for closing costs, things like that. Now, if you are a homeowner and you're thinking about selling your property, now is the time to be very strategic about how you price and position a home. If your home is modern, updated, beautiful, in a good area, and priced well, it's going to sell quickly. If it's not all four of those things, you're going to see it might take some time to sell the property. And if you don't price it correctly, it will linger on the market and you'll eventually have to come down in price to sell. The other thing is you're going to need to make sure your realtor is doing a very good job at marketing the property. The days of sticking a sign in the front yard, putting it on the MLS, hoping that you get few offers in the first week are long gone. You need to have an active marketing process, and you just need to be strategic about how you're positioning the property in today's market. So why is this all happening? What got us to where we're at today? How did we transition from a market was super hot for sellers to a market that is more favored to buyers? Well, one is that prices have gone up quite a bit. We've seen prices increase from 900,000 to 1.5 million in Orange County, 1.3 million in LA County in just a few short years. Homeowners are finally giving up their low rate. If you are a homeowner who bought in 2022, late 2021, you probably locked in a rate around 3%. And so home sellers have been unwilling to give that up. It's also because they would have to list their house for sale to go buy something else and get a higher rate, it's less appealing. But now that rates have stuck at that 6-7% for a year now, or a couple years now, sellers are starting to be reluctant to hold on to their properties. And life happens, divorces happen, families grow, people need to move for their job, and more homeowners are having to come to market. Another reason we're seeing this shift is because buyer demand has cooled. We're seeing less buyers entering the market. One, again, costs. Prices have gone up a lot. Interest rates have gone up a lot. But even more than that, we have economic concerns, inflation concerns, job market insecurity. So people are less likely or more reluctant to enter the market as a buyer. Just to wrap this up, what do I think? Is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to sell? Well, I think that the answer to that is it's your own individual scenario. If you can afford to buy and you want to own a home, yes, the best time to do it was 10 years ago, and the second best time to do it is right now. Prices are going to continue to go up in Southern California. And if you can afford to, now is a good time to buy. You can leverage today's market to get concessions, buy down your rate, get into a home you feel comfortable with the monthly payment, and start to enjoy the benefits of home ownership. Start to enjoy the appreciation that everyone else has had. And when rates go down, you can refinance. If you're a seller thinking is now the time to sell, I would do it sooner than later. The market's going to get more difficult for sellers. We're going to see that disparity between the number of buyers and sellers get even worse, and we're going to see potentially some prices coming down. Now, if you're planning to make a move this year, let's connect. I'm Nico. I am a real estate agent here in Southern California. I've been licensed as a real estate agent since 2007. I started in Utah. I moved here in 2015, so I've been a California realtor for 10 years. I'd love to help you find your next home. If you're not in Southern California, I know a lot of realtors around the country. Let me make a great referral for you. If you're still listening to this, thank you. This is the first of many. This video is probably going to end up being a little rough, but my goal is to worry less about the production of these videos and just try and get as many out as I can. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And yeah, thanks.